And as a result, it became a symbol of financial success and holiday shopping excitement. So, yeah, they changed the term and put a positive spin on it. And people started to think, oh, yes, it's Black Friday. I can't wait. I'm buzzing. I'm so excited to, splash out because it is Black Friday. Splash out, by the way, is a phrasal verb which means to spend a lot of money. I'm thinking about splashing out on a new computer. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. This is British English Pod with me, Lewis, and as always, today I'm going to speak to you about a different topic using lots of advanced phrases, idioms, slang, and so on, whilst explaining what they mean and providing you with some listening practice in English. So, if you want to improve your English, you're in the right place. And of course, today, the day this is released, it is Black Friday. Yes, the famous Black Friday. And funnily enough, as it happens, I am, as usual, wearing black. I'm wearing a black t-shirt. But, Black Friday. Personally, I think that it's all a little bit of a scam. Yes, I said it. I believe that Black Friday is a bit of a trick. I think that it's all this one big marketing campaign to try to sell more and make more profit, when in reality, for the vast majority of companies and of products, the offers, the discounts, the sales aren't that interesting. Because what I think happens is that companies and individuals who are preparing for a Black Friday sale will actually increase the prices in the weeks and months leading up to Black Friday. So then they can reduce the prices again and make it seem very appealing and attractive to potential buyers. That's what I think. But let me know in the comments. Do you normally buy new clothes, technology, courses for Black Friday? Do these discounts and sales grab your attention? Or, like me, do you think it's a bit of a scam? But that's the introduction to this podcast, and I'm going to explain Black Friday, the origins of Black Friday. Then I'm going to speak about shopping in general, and I'll share my screen, go over some different conversation questions, different vocabulary, and some idioms as well related to the topic, shopping. And, well, we'll get into shopping soon. But first, I did say that Black Friday is a bit of a scam, which is why, for my own classes and my community, I'm afraid there are no big discounts. There are no big sales. But what is happening, which has happened for the last few weeks, is that, well, if you are interested in joining the British English Immersion Club, which is my go-to fluency club where you can immerse yourself in English, you can receive classes directly from me, group classes, that is, and you can join any of the 15 available hours per week for a modest price of only €60. That means you can attend 4 classes per month, plus on top of that, you can join my bonus lessons, because every week there is a bonus class related to exam preparation, business English, speaking about the news, or sometimes just having a chit chat with a cup of coffee. So I've said it. If you'd like to try your free week trial of the British English Immersion Club. I'll leave a link in the description, of course, and you can check it out before you decide if you want to join or not. But bear in mind that places are limited. If I see that suddenly 5 or 10 people sign up, then I will need to close these entrances, because the whole point of this immersion club is that the group classes are limited, that they are a total of 3 or 4 people per class. If I see that there are too many people joining, then I need to close these entrances. So now's your time if you'd like to join and have classes with me. Now on to Black Friday. Let me explain Black Friday and where it comes from, because in many countries, Black Friday is very new. For many nationalities, we've only heard about Black Friday in the last decade, perhaps. I think it was probably about 10 years ago when Black Friday fever started to take over different countries and different cultures around the world. Because the term Black Friday originated in the United States, and its meaning has changed over time. And it all begins in the 1950s, 1960s, specifically in Philadelphia, in the USA. Because the earliest use of Black Friday referred to the chaotic traffic and crowds that appeared in Philadelphia the day after Thanksgiving, this famous American holiday, which, for your information, in the UK, we do not celebrate we don't celebrate Thanksgiving. It doesn't exist. It's not a thing at all. So it's very, very American and maybe a little bit Canadian too. But anyway, police officers used the term negatively because they had to deal with traffic jams, accidents, and shoplifters as people flooded the city to shop and attend the Army-Navy football game that weekend. So that's where it comes from. And by the way, a shoplifter is a robber who steals from a shop. So police, they used Black Friday as a way of kind of complaining at how busy and full of traffic the streets were because of this famous football game, and because of the fact that, well, people went out to shop to see if there were any offers. But then, slowly but surely, the term developed into something else, into something much more than that. And it was around about the 1980s. And this is when it became a nationwide phenomenon in the United States. It became national, where not only in Philadelphia, but also in New York City, in Los Angeles, in Chicago, in, I don't know, Atlanta, all over the country, it started to become a thing. And retailers didn't like the negative connotation, so they rebranded the term. They started promoting Black Friday as the day when stores would finally go into the black. And if you are in the black, it means you are making a profit. And if you are in the red, it means you are making a loss. So stores, shops would finally go into the black, meaning they would turn a profit after being in the red for most of the year. And as a result, it became a symbol of financial success and holiday shopping excitement. So, yeah, they changed the term and put a positive spin on it. And people started to think, oh, yes, it's Black Friday. I can't wait. I'm buzzing. I'm so excited to, splash out because it is Black Friday. Splash out, by the way, is a phrasal verb which means to spend a lot of money. I'm thinking about splashing out on a new computer. I'm thinking about spending a lot of money on a new computer. But yeah, I'm a bit stingy, so I'm going to put it off and put it off and put it off for as long as possible. But now let's fast forward to the future. What is it now? What is Black Friday nowadays? Well, today, Black Friday refers to the day after Thanksgiving, the fourth Friday in November, which is the last Friday in November. And it marks the official start of the Christmas shopping season. And it's known for massive sales and discounts, both in shops and online. You see these huge crowds and long queues outside shops, again, especially in the US. And it's also online. It's online shopping that is benefiting from this phenomenon as well. Because since the 2010s, Cyber Monday, the following Monday, focuses on e-commerce deals. And now many shops extend promotions into a Black Friday week or even sometimes a Black Friday month. And as a result of this, due to this, it has also spread worldwide. So Black Friday is now very, very popular, and Cyber Monday is also celebrated in the United Kingdom, in Europe, in Latin America, in Asia, all over the place, all over the globe, where stores use it as a marketing event, even though Thanksgiving isn't celebrated all over the globe. So that is an overview of Black Friday. That's how it started, and that is what happens in the present day. And I'm sure by this point, because I'm posting this video on specifically the day of Black Friday, you've already seen all of these ads, commercials, all of these campaigns, people announcing different offers because of Black Friday. So you're probably sick and tired of hearing about Black Friday. I'm guessing you're fed up of it. Like, give it a rest already. But hey, December is just around the corner. Christmas is around the corner as well. And for some wise shoppers, they might be looking into different websites and shops to see if really there are some interesting deals so they can do their Christmas shopping before December and get everything over and done with. So then in the weeks approaching Christmas, you don't need to worry about buying presents. So that, in my opinion, is probably the only big advantage, that if you like to prepare in advance, you can maybe get lucky and buy something for, a lower price compared to the prices that you will see just going into Christmas. Because Christmas is a bad time to buy things. The reason I say that is because you have Black Friday just before, where, of course, whether it's a scam or not, you do have some discounts and offers and sales. And then just after Christmas, we also have more sales. You have the January sales, where shops kind of want to clear out all of the things that they haven't sold. They want to get rid of all of these things that they haven't sold. So, as a stingy guy, my advice would be not to buy anything in December, but to buy it for either Black Friday or in January. And then you're winning. You're saving so much. You can tell that I'm not into shopping, can't you? So, on that note, let's keep going, and I'm going to share my screen. And of course, as always, if you are watching this on YouTube or Spotify, you'll be able to read these questions at the same time. And if you're just listening, then perfect as well. You're working on your listening skills. And remember, please, I appreciate it if you like this video or if you're listening on Spotify, leave a 5-star review. And that way, more people can discover this podcast and hopefully, fingers crossed, benefit from it in improving their listening skills, idioms, slang, phrasal verbs, and all of that kind of stuff. Now, here we got these warm-up questions. The first question is, are you a fan of shopping? And if so, for what kind of things? To be blunt, to be frank, to be honest, no. I'm not a fan of shopping. I do not enjoy shopping whatsoever. I despise shopping. I hate shopping. The only type of shopping that I don't mind so much is food shopping. You see, when I go to the supermarket and I'm walking up and down the aisles, I kind of enjoy seeing what food is available, if there are any discounts. And at the same time, I'm thinking, what am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to have for dinner? What am I going to have for breakfast? Because I like to think about my meals a day, 2 days, or 3 days in advance. So therefore, I enjoy going to the supermarket and having a look at what I'm going to buy. But that's the only thing that I don't mind doing when it comes to shopping. Everything else is a bit of a nightmare, which is why I never really buy a lot of things. I don't buy clothes, hardly ever, to be honest. Only when I really need to buy clothes. So I reuse a lot of old clothes. For Christmas and my birthday, I might get some presents, which are clothes as well, and that will usually see me through the rest of the year. So as I said, me and shopping, we're not good friends. We don't go hand in hand. We are mortal enemies. But, number 2, are you a bargain hunter? And do you get excited by sales and discounts? And a bargain hunter is somebody who is trying to hunt bargains, trying to find and seize bargains that are available. And yeah, I'd say I'm a bargain hunter, but not especially, because I don't check online shopping websites to see when there are good deals, because I don't usually need anything, to be honest. If, let's say, I did decide to splash out on a new computer for work, for classes, then I would do a bit of market research and I'd compare prices from different vendors and I'd obviously try to find the best deal because it's what makes sense. There's no point spending an extra 20% when, especially if you're buying something very, very pricey, very expensive, you might as well get the best deal possible. So in that aspect, I am a bargain hunter, but I don't get excited about sales and discounts. Again, I'll only get excited if, when I go to the supermarket, I see 50% off. And then I'm like, ooh, smoked salmon from Scotland, 50% off. Ooh, I'll have a little bit of that. So I do tend to buy things from the supermarket when I see that they are about to expire. They are about to go out of date. And I think, the expiry date is tomorrow. So I can buy it today, eat it today, or tomorrow, and benefit from the discount. Then I do get excited. Question number 3. What's the most expensive item you've ever bought? The most expensive item I have ever bought is right in front of me. So I've mentioned computers. I think the most expensive thing I've ever bought is my MacBook. So Many people could say that MacBooks and Apple products are a bit of a rip-off. And while I agree with you, I'm used to buying them and I'm used to using them. So for the last 10 years, I've had an iPhone. I'll update it every 3 years, for example, and that's an extra grand I need to pay. Another phrasal verb, an extra grand I need to fork out. So fork out and splash out are very similar. If you splash out, you spend a lot of money, kind of because you're excited about it. You want to spend a lot of money. Whereas fork out is spending a lot of money when you don't want to. An example would be if they raise your rent or you get really, really high electricity bills. Oh, you have to fork out 500 euros for your gas bill, for example. But yeah, every 3 years, I need to fork out on a new iPhone. And now, to be fair, it's been about, how long has it been? I think it's been about 5 years since I've had my trusty laptop, my MacBook Pro. And I remember I spent like almost 2 grand, I think, so almost 2,000 euros. And it was difficult to make that decision. I wasn't sure. I didn't want to spend that much money on a laptop, but my previous colleagues and boss were kind of convincing me, persuading me that it was worth it, that when you buy a MacBook, it'll feel better, it won't break, it'll last a long time. So then in the long run, it's good value for money. And I was skeptical. I was questioning them. I didn't believe them. But in hindsight, knowing what I know now, they were probably right. Because my laptop, I've had it for 5 years. That means it's cost me maybe 400 euros per year. If I keep it for another 4 years, 5 years, then it will have cost me only 200 quid per year. So, given that I teach all of my classes, I record some videos, I do some editing using my laptop, it's a pretty good and valuable expense. So, yeah, to sum up, my most expensive item has been my laptop because I've never bought my own car and I've never bought my own house. So, my most expensive my most expensive item, should I say, is my laptop. Now, number 4, do you try to get shopping done as fast as possible? Yes, yes, and yes. So, on these few occasions when I do need to go shopping, I'll do it as quickly as possible. Let's say I'm Christmas shopping and I need to buy gifts for my parents, for my fiance, for my sister, for my nephew, maybe for cousins or aunt and uncle. I might write a shopping list and brainstorm some ideas, and then I'll get the train into Leeds, for example, or I'll walk down to a shopping centre and I will try to tick off all of these items as quickly as humanly possible. So I need to buy a new jumper for my dad. I'll go straight in, buy it straight out. I need to buy some pajamas for my mum. Find a shop, straight in, no hesitation. I grab it off a hanger, take it to the till, and done. So yeah, because I dislike shopping, I'll go in and out as quickly as possible. And you know what? When I'm inside a shop, I'm always a bit uncomfortable. I'm always a bit awkward because there tends to be a lot of people there. You don't have a lot of personal space. I know I'm doing something that I don't enjoy, which is why I just want to get it over and done with. I just want to end the pain as quickly as possible. Now, number 5, do you prefer to shop on your own or with friends or family? Well, I'd say usually I like to shop on my own because I want to do it as quickly as possible. But if you shop with friends or family, then it's true that maybe you can make a day of it. So then you can perhaps go into the city center, you can go out for breakfast or brunch or lunch, then you can do some shopping with your loved ones or your friends, and then maybe you can go for a drink or do something fun. You can go bowling, play darts, an escape room, anything like this. So shopping with friends or family overall might be better because at least even if you don't enjoy the act of shopping, you can go for a meal, do some activities, and make a day of it. You can turn it into a social plan. What about you? What do you think? Do you prefer to shop on your own, or do you prefer to do it with friends or family? Because I've heard both opinions. I've heard my fiance saying, for example, she enjoys shopping on her own, so she can, try things on. There's no stress. People aren't asking her questions if she likes it or not, and she can shop more tactically. But then my mum, for example, she really likes going with my sister. So then again, they can make a day of it and they can have a good time, spend some quality time together. Now, question number 6. Have you ever worked in a shop? No, I have never ever worked in a shop, and I don't think I will ever work in a shop. When maybe you're a teenager or you're at uni or you've just graduated, it can be common for people to work in a shop as like a shop assistant to get a little bit of extra money, some pocket money. But this, as you can imagine, never really tickled my fancy. It never really appealed to me. So I've never worked in a shop, and I vow that I will never work in a shop. So yeah, that's what I think about that. Now, we're going to continue, but I'm curious. What's the last thing you bought? What is the last thing you bought from a shop? Because I was just asking myself and thinking, when's the last time I went shopping? And what did I buy? And to be honest, I think that the last time I went shopping was when I bought an engagement ring. And maybe I made a mistake earlier because I said that my laptop was the most expensive thing I bought. But I take it back. I take it back because, in fact, the last thing I bought, which was earlier this year, was an engagement ring. A ring to ask someone to marry you. Because I've mentioned on this podcast that I got engaged earlier this year. I'll be getting married at the end of next year. And I tell you what, that was a little bit of a nervy time. I remember going into the city, writing down all of these different jewelry shops where I could go and find some engagement rings. And I felt really awkward about it. I remember looking in the shop window, essentially window shopping, just looking at things through the window. And I couldn't pluck up the courage to go into the shop and say, "Oh, I'd like to have a look at your engagement rings," because I don't know. I felt a bit awkward about it. And I was like, how do I tell them that I want to buy it? How do I put it? I don't know why. I think I am socially awkward in some scenarios, and this was one of them. But this is the last thing I bought because the rest of the year, I've bought food, but I haven't bought anything important. And earlier this year, I bought an engagement ring. And I remember that when I sat down in the jewelry shop, the shop assistant asked me, like, oh, do you want a drink whilst you're waiting? Because I suppose they know you're going to spend a lot of money, so they want to treat you well. So, me being a little bit awkward, with red cheeks going bright red because I was a bit embarrassed, maybe, he was like, yeah, do you want a drink? And I said, um, yeah, what do you have? What are the options? So he listed off the options. He was like, well, you can have a cup of tea, you can have a cup of coffee, you can have some champagne, you can have a beer, you can have a glass of wine, whatever you fancy. So I was like, oh, okay. Can I have a beer then? So I ended up having a bottle of beer whilst having a look and comparing some different engagement rings. And it was a bit surreal. It was a bit strange, but I walked out of the shop with the ring and since asked my then girlfriend, now fiance, to marry me. And she said yes. So that was the last big thing that I bought, and probably the most expensive thing I have ever bought as well. But yeah, what's the last thing that you bought? Something big. The last big, important thing that you bought. Now, let's keep going and we'll have a look at some idioms, some expressions through conversation once again. And let's see if I can find. Okay, let's go. Shopping expressions. I've found the slide and now I will share it. And by the way, these are all PowerPoints that I often use in my classes because, of course, with some students, we just have a chat about random things or we work on their presentations or meetings, you name it. But for the British English Immersion Club, we tend to have a specific topic each week. So this week, the topic has been shopping, naturally, given that Black Friday was coming up. And yeah, this is kind of like a class, but obviously in class, you, the student, would be answering the questions and speaking, whilst I am sitting back, relaxing, making notes, and keeping the conversation going, whilst offering alternative phrases and stuff like that. So, anyway, shopping expressions. What do they mean? And for each one, it is a conversation question. So, the first one. Is it common for you to shop around before making a final choice? And to shop around is basically to compare places and prices. So, yeah, for me, it is quite common to shop around before making a final choice. If I know I'm going to go shopping, I will look up the item or items that I'd like to buy online, just so I've got an idea of how much it will cost. Then, if I choose to go shopping in person, I'll say, "Oh, that's expensive," or that's much cheaper. So I will compare prices and I will shop around before deciding to, spend my money because my money is precious. I'm stingy. The second question. Do you ensure you always pay your way when out with friends? And to pay your way is to contribute financially. We also have another phrasal verb in English, which is to chip in. If you chip in, you contribute an equal amount of money to pay for something. But yeah, when I'm out with friends, I'm not as stingy. When I'm out with friends, I don't mind spending money on good food. I don't mind spending money on um, on drinks and having a good time, basically. And I don't want somebody else paying for me. I don't want them getting the bill because then I feel guilty. So I do make sure that I always pay my way when I'm out with friends or family. I don't want them paying for my consumption. The third question: do you only talk shop when meeting up with co-workers? What does it mean to talk shop? Well, if you talk shop, you talk about work. So, it's quite usual and normal that if you work for a big company, then you meet up with colleagues or co-workers outside of work. It's kind of inevitable that you will talk shop. And for some people, this is quite annoying when you go out for a drink and you think, let's get to know each other. Let's talk about our private lives. But then there are some people who just want to keep talking about business, keep talking about work. In my case, nowadays, because I don't have any coworkers, I don't have any colleagues, I don't talk shop that much. Because I've got no one to talk shop with, which I wouldn't mind maybe talking about work a little bit more with like-minded people. But obviously, this podcast is kind of like my therapist. So I'm speaking to all of you as if you were my mates or my colleagues, so I can just get things off my chest whilst teaching you at the same time. But in my last job, when I worked for Teachify, and I'd meet up with colleagues, in fact, every December we'd go to Madrid and we'd have a Christmas party. And whenever we all met up, we'd talk shop. We'd talk about our students. We'd talk about the growth of the company. We'd talk about our plans for the future. So we talked shop quite a lot, to be honest. Now, the fourth question: does shopping therapy cheer you up? So, shopping therapy, as you can imagine, is a style or form of therapy where when you're feeling a bit down, a bit blue, a bit down in the dumps, or sad or upset, some people like to buy things or they like to go shopping to make them feel better, to cheer them up. For me, this does not work. If I'm feeling a bit upset, the things that cheer me up is, well, maybe watching a comedy on TV, maybe going out and seeing mates. Other things would be going on holiday, and, well, I guess that is a spending period of therapy, I guess you could put it. So yeah, shopping will never cheer me up. In fact, it'll probably get me more down. If I'm already upset and somebody makes me go shopping, I'm just gonna want to kill myself. Give me the gun. End this pain. Okay, now the fifth one. This is the one that I got mixed up with. So, when was the last time you went on a shopping spree? And a shopping spree is a session of buying a lot of things. So people might go on shopping sprees for Black Friday, or they might go on shopping sprees for Christmas, where you'll set aside one day or a weekend even to buy all of the things that you need to buy. Perhaps before summer, people might go on a shopping spree to buy shorts, t-shirts, shirts, bikinis, swimming shorts, all of the necessary things for summer. The last time I went on a shopping spree, I don't even remember. I think it was probably, maybe, it might have been when I moved to Seville, and this is almost 10 years ago now. And the reason I went on a shopping spree was because I think I moved to Seville with only like a big backpack. So I didn't have a lot of belongings, and I had lots of clothes that I needed to buy. So I went into the city centre, went to lots of different shops, bought everything I thought was necessary, and that way I could stock up on clothes and make sure I had everything. So then I wouldn't need to do it for quite a long time in the future. So yeah, it's been ages. It's been donkey's years since I last went on a shopping spree. Another last question. If you can't afford to buy anything, do you still go window shopping? Now you know that my answer is negative. I don't like shopping, so I definitely don't like window shopping because let me get this straight. Let me clarify this. Window shopping is going to shops, stores, different places, and just looking in the window to see what's available. Not necessarily always outside, but maybe just walking into shops without ever considering buying anything. So that's all of the negatives from shopping without actually getting anything you might want. So it's nonsense. It's ridiculous. If you enjoy it, fair enough. Good for you. And I'm sure there will be people who love window shopping, who love shopping therapy, who love shopping sprees. But it's not me. It's definitely not me. I'm not into any of this. But it's good to talk about it, right? And hopefully you've enjoyed hearing me speaking about it to improve your vocabulary and know a little bit more about shopping. But let's finish off with some quick opinions, some quick questions. So, receipts. You know, your receipts are the pieces of paper that show what you've bought. Do you normally keep your receipts after buying something? Because honestly, I don't. I rarely keep my receipts. I'll scrunch it up and then throw it away. So then, if I want to take something back or return something, I'm screwed. The next question. Do you appreciate having a warranty when you purchase something pricey? And a warranty is like a guarantee that you can get your money back. And, well, if I'm splashing out on something pricey, something expensive, yeah, I would value having a warranty. I would appreciate having a warranty because at least that gives you a little bit of peace of mind to think that, okay, if there is any kind of failure or if what I'm buying stops working, I can always take it back. So yeah, I do appreciate having a warranty. And now, another question. When was the last time that you returned something, that you gave it back, you sent it back, you took it back? And did you get a refund? Now, I'm so lazy that even when I bought lots of clothes on ASOS or a similar kind of online shopping platform, I'd often buy t-shirts, shirts, socks, trousers, a little bit of everything. And if something didn't fit me or it didn't suit me, then I'd be too lazy to pack it up again and send it back in order to get a refund. Because I thought, oh, I can't be bothered. I feel lazy about it. Now, obviously, this only happened with insignificant amounts of money. Maybe if I bought something really, really cheap and it cost a fiver, for example, then I'd think, I can't be bothered. I'm just gonna throw it away, or I'm gonna put it in my cupboards or a wardrobe, or I'll give it away to someone else. But I'd think that it's more hassle and more work to send it back and get a refund than it is to actually pack everything up, take it to the post office, and do that. And I know it's wrong, but that's me. That's me. I'm lazy. Now, how about the final question, which is the big dilemma nowadays? Online shopping versus in-person shopping, physical shopping. What are the pros and cons of each one? Well, let's start with online shopping and begin with the fact that one big pro is that you can do everything from your phone or your laptop. You can buy lots of things within one click, which is magical. In addition to that, with Amazon Prime as well, you have next day delivery. So if you're a bit busy and you don't have time to go physically shopping in person, you still have whatever you need so quickly. And yeah, I guess you have a wider range of options as well, because on the website of a shop, you can see everything they sell. Whereas in person, they don't always have everything in stock. So maybe they run out of certain items of clothing or pieces of technology. So those are the pros of online shopping. And one con is, well, for clothes, you can't try things on in the moment. You can't touch the material. You can't feel if it's comfortable or not. And, well, sometimes nowadays with these very, very cheap platforms, I've forgotten the name, but I'm sure you know what I mean. There are some cheap platforms where everything costs peanuts. It's so, so cheap. And then on the picture, it will look incredible and it'll look great. And then when it arrives, you'll try it on and you'll be like, wait, this isn't what I ordered. So some of the advertising can be a bit misleading, let's say, with online shopping, with places like Temu, for example. I know there's another one, but Temu just came to mind. So yeah, that's another con. Now moving on to in-person shopping. And the main advantage is that, well, you save the high street. So cities can be quite depressing nowadays if you have lots of shops that have gone bankrupt, they've gone bust, and they've closed down. You know, city centers are getting uglier as a result because fewer people go shopping in person. So, on a macro level, that is one pro or advantage or positive of shopping in person. Another one is having a day out, you know, making a day of it by going shopping, then out for lunch, out for drinks. So that's another cool thing. And well, for trying on clothes and seeing the texture, the fabric, that makes sense to do it in person. Then the cons, well, in my opinion, there are more cons. Um, One of them is that it's stressful, or at least for me, shopping is stressful. Also, sometimes things sell out, so you don't have as many options as you do online. Apart from that, then you've got to carry around lots of bags, which is a bit inconvenient as well. And what else? What else could I say? I think it's just my personal bias that whenever I go shopping, I don't have a good time. So that's why I would always just do it online to think like, ah, it's done. I've bought what I needed and that's it. And maybe if you go shopping in person, there is more of a temptation to buy more than you need because you will be distracted and tempted to buy other things, bonus things, unnecessary things, because whilst you're there, you might as well almost. So that's what I'd say. But let me know in the comments, what do you prefer? Do you prefer online shopping or in-person shopping, and for what reasons? And I think we will wrap it up there. We will call it a day and finish this podcast right now. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed hearing me rambling and waffling on about how stingy I am and how little I like shopping, and explaining the origins of Black Friday at the same time. So enjoy your Black Friday. Have a fantastic weekend and Cyber Monday. And I'll see you next week for another podcast. So thanks, guys, and see you next time. Bye bye.